Okay, this is the fourth video in this series. So if you haven't seen the other three videos, they're the ones directly behind this one in my series, so you should be able to find them. And it would help to watch those before watching this one. The purpose of this video is to remind us to get a clear picture on who we're dealing with when we're talking to people and what our motives are. And when we walk away from those conversations, how our energies are. Because this is all about our journeys, not our sisters, our brothers, our uncles, our aunts, our parents, our friends, whatever else. They all have their own journeys. We have our journey. And we got to be very careful imposing what we know on other people, because see, we are a very small minority, very, very tiny portion of the population. And it appears that we're all spread out. There's very, very rare will you have two people that think like us in the same physical sphere. In real life. I mean, you might go to a convention or whatever else, and of course you're going to be around like-minded people, but in general, day in, day out, we are surrounded by, and we're going to show it here, we are surrounded by what people want to cold-heartedly or, just brashly call NPCs. I call them Agent Smiths is the best way to think about it. Is they've just given over their whole mental processes to these systems, and they are not able to think for themselves, so they're just on autopilot. And that's what makes them an Agent Smith, because at any time the influences from the mob mind, the hive mind, the matrix system, the demons, whatever, however you want to refer to it, because it's probably all at play, will influence these people or take them over. You can even see their eyes go black, their eyes go into they blank out. I mean, it's weird. It's very weird, but it happens. It happens a lot. And anytime you try to speak an inconvenient, uncomfortable truth that interrupts their comfortable existence. So this is, again, just to remind us, because being so alone, being so closed off from everybody else, being so different with our minds and our hearts and our emotions, right? They can't relate to us. And we have a tendency to give, and for our gift to be shat upon. And then we have a tendency to get brokenhearted or upset or lose our emotions over it, our control over our emotions over something like that. When what we really need to understand is take that as an opportunity, view it and observe it, and say, why am I allowing this person who is obviously enslaved to this system and is willing to defend it to the death? Why am I allowing them to be in control of how I feel? Well, because I shared something so intimate, and I was hoping for the feedback of, oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Oh yeah, oh my goodness, I got to think about that. But we don't get that. We get one-liners, we get scoffs, we get eye rolls, we get talking behind our backs, we get straight up mean shit put at us when we expose truth. So as our responsibility, our personal responsibility, is to ourselves. And the reason this comes up, it works out perfect, because I was with my son today, we were working. And he brought up how because my son has, I've shared, I'm not going to go into his business. I've shared about him, but very intelligent, extremely intelligent child. He's 17. But his friends will poke at him, in school, because they know, because he has a hard time not speaking 100% truth. Like, he's a lot like me in that area. Like, it's hard to say anything other than the truth. Like, it's impossible. And he doesn't go along to get along for the most part. So, but he's so intelligent, like he can shut people down. Like, he doesn't have a problem. He does very good at these things. And what I was trying to get to across it, well, I wasn't even trying, I said, Aiden, just be very careful and mindful that these people are literally walking around with demons, parasites, hive mind. They're in their hive mind, right? And so they're on autopilot, and they are literally, when they come and poke you, a lot of times when these people come and poke you to get something out of you is because they know subconsciously, not consciously, they're not doing it on purpose. Some are, yes, some are. But most people unconsciously are doing it because they need to refill their energy levels. And their demons, their parasites, the hive mind, whatever it is, tells them, hey, go recharge. And so they'll come to you, they'll call you, they'll, out of the blue, just out of nowhere, and they'll just throw that thing in there to get you wound up. Oh yeah, you're feeding the system now, right? And so I told him, I said, just be mindful, Aiden. I said, pick your battles, pick and choose. And we've had many conversations like this, but he gets more and more intimate with me as time goes on, as he can trust me more and see that he can open up. And now that I've been able to control my own emotions and my own energy field, right? Because I do a lot of my energy, working a lot with my energy right now. And so, I told him, I said, man, just be very careful when you walk away. Pay attention. All you're doing is observing. How do I feel after this? If it serves you, continue doing it. If you're building something, if something is happening, you feel like this, then do it. If it is draining you, if it is making you have conversations afterwards, if it is making you question, if it is making you harder, if it's keeping you up at night, if it's making you angry, if it's doing any of this stuff, if it is doing anything other than giving you energy and building you up and propelling you on your path, then you are not serving yourself. You are feeding into the system, no matter where your heart is at. And we use our heart as the excuse, but a lot of times we just want validation. We just want somebody, please, can't you see that these fucking moon landings are fake? What the fuck is wrong with you, right? It's so obvious to us, but there's millions. I mean, they just fall over for it because they don't care. It doesn't matter to them. To them, it's just something in the background as they go along and try to find the next thing to numb with, right? So that's how I'm starting this video off. And I'm going to start this off too with a quote. And this, of course, is from Morpheus from The Matrix. When he's talking to Neo. The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. And many of these people within this system are so inured, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight and do anything. They'll kill whatever they got to do to protect it. And because they're in that hive mind, they are a part of that system. So when you start fucking with their heads, you're fucking with that system. So just be mindful. Be mindful. And so now what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you guys. I'm not going to show you anything. You guys already know. We're just going to, again, rehash this. That way we truly are comprehending that these people, where these people's positions are and where ours should be. So I just want to point out something here. Posywid. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It was a guy named Beers. I can't remember his full name, but he came up with this. It's an acronym for the purpose of a system is what it does, not what it intends to do, not what it promises to do, not what it says it's going to do, but what it does. So Posywid, Posiwid, the purpose of a system is what it does. It doesn't matter what the intentions are of those working within the system, the pawns, the patsies, the useful idiots. Doesn't matter. Oh, I got such a good heart. I want to help people. I'm doing this. I'm working at CPS because all these little kids being abused. While the system that CPS is a part of, that CPS partakes in for the system, is child trafficking. So this stuff's so blatantly simple for us to understand, to comprehend, to understand, to know. This is impossible for anybody who is not ready for it to comprehend, to understand, to know, because it goes against everything that they've been programmed. And just remember, they give us talking points. Anything to keep us dumb and distracted. They give us talking points. They've opened up all the rabbit holes are open right now to keep you dumb and distracted. They don't care what you know. If you aren't applying it in your life, if you are not walking the walk, then what does it matter what you know? It doesn't matter. You're just an intelligent idiot. You're an intelligent retard. You are literally, not retard, wouldn't be, you're an intelligent, useful idiot. That's what you are, because you're still walking the old walk that feeds into all of this. But you got all the knowledge, so now you're living in cognitive dissonance. I mean, I don't even know how people can hold those two cups in one hand. I don't know how that gets done. They will do anything, including releasing all this information. Here you go. In the past 6 months, the floodgates have opened. Every conspiracy, everything you could ever want to know, it's all out there. There's so much you could spend your rest of your life in each one of these rabbit holes. Anything to keep us in fear, doubt, worry, and to keep us spinning in circles, because that's what these rabbit holes do. You'll just spin it. So nothing's going to come out of knowing all of that. Nothing's going to come out of knowing any of it. And feeding energy into their systems, because that's what it's doing. It's feeding energy. Because you can't go down these rabbit holes and maintain composure. You can't go down these rabbit holes and keep your breath. You can't go down these rabbit holes and have good self-talk. You can't go down these rabbit holes and be on your journey strengthening your spiritual self, your physical self, your mental or your emotional self, while you're mentally straining yourself to understand how any of this is happening, or it could be people could get away with it, right? Okay, so this is going to be interesting. So systems, these systems that I just stated, that are the purpose of a system is what it does. And to see where our governmental, education, religious, and family systems have led us in this country, and probably all over the world most likely, tells you what the purpose of these systems are. And all they ever say, they have been leading people along for the past 50, 60, 80 years saying, oh, the system isn't working exactly. We aren't getting the results we want because we don't have enough money. This one's my favorite. We aren't getting the results we want because we don't have the right people who are truly dedicated and want to make change, right? I love that one. Throw it right back, shame and guilt right back on all the pawns, because what is that? Oh man, you're right. Friday, I really didn't give a fuck at work. That whole thing, they ruled through shame and guilt. And just don't forget, all these systems create our cultural and social norms. We went over in the last video what a pure person, this is healthy self-talk. I am whole, I'm perfect, I'm pure, I'm innocent, I'm honest, I'm kind. This is the programming that these people are running on. Because this is the necessary programming to be able to stay on this boat. Okay? You start talking your crazy shit, you start doing all that, they are going to throw you over. And they won't think twice. Because you're rocking the boat. And as soon as you start rocking the boat, to them, that means they all have a chance of falling off. And it's not going to be them, it's going to be you. So you're going over. Okay, these people, you got to remember, these people, even the ones that think they're part way awake, right? They are scared to death of the end of the systems. They all want to fix it. They all want to fix these. There's no fixing. The system is what it does. It's doing exactly what it was meant to do. You can't fix a broken system. The system was broken. It seems and appears broken to us because they told us it was intended to do this, but a system is what it does, period. And these people are so afraid for these systems to end because their whole existence, their whole everything relies on these systems. The doctors, the hospitals, the fucking education, the religion, the faith, the whole thing, the science, the history. They have given up everything over, all of their cognitive abilities over, in order to be able to function and work, slave away at a mindless job, 40 hours a week, 40 years of their lives, and be able to continue. And when they're not working, they are numb, dumb, and dopamine hitting. And that's just what they are. I mean, that is what they are. I was that 6 years ago. I speak from experience. In case you guys were never in this boat, and you guys have always, good to go. But if you were, you wouldn't be on this video. These people stock food, weapons, and everything else, right? They stock food and weapons and everything else for the illusion of safety. They can't sit still for more than 2 minutes. They can't sit without their phone for more than 30 seconds. They can't sit without some kind of entertainment and some kind of something going on. They are so racked and wired. Their nervous systems are so dysregulated. And the ones whose nervous systems are okay are ego worshiping. They are, usually the ones who are fitness people or yoga people or this person or that person, in these healthy industries where they like these, especially these spiritual industries where they talk about being aligned and everything. But they're aligned with all the fucking shit that they worship and the money. They all worship the money and the job and the career and the authority figures. Oh, well, we gotta have the police. Oh, well, we gotta have an education system. Just if everybody did yoga, everything would be okay, right? These people think that if something happened and they had all that food stockpiled and they had a basement, a whatever proof basement, right? They think they can sit in a basement for 2 years eating ramen and staring at a wall. Think about that. These people don't think. They don't think. They are incapable of thinking. This is who we are talking to. We're literally talking to the deaf, dumb, and blind. They'd be better if they were deaf, dumb, and blind. But no, instead, they walk around, look at children in adult bodies in positions of power, in our peer positions, our friend positions, our family positions. They act and put on this great play like they're alive and they're doing these things and they're interacting, but they're just going through the motions. That's all they're doing. They're sleepwalking from one interaction to the next. They're sleepwalking from one dopamine hit to the next. They're sleepwalking in between this poisonous thing that they were doing to that poisonous thing they were doing. That's all they're doing. They aren't there. Okay, let me see here. So they're still voting, right? These people still vote. They're like, I'm not going to pay my taxes, but I'm still going to vote, right? It's crazy. I mean, they think they can vote the system better. Again, it goes back to thinking they can fix these systems when a system is what it does. They're still praying. These people have been praying for a cure for cancer for the past 60 years. I mean, come on. This shit's so ridiculous and so stupid. Can you imagine how many generations have gone through and taught their kids, yep, you just got to pray. We all got to pray harder. And if it doesn't work, it's because there aren't enough people praying. And there's 2 billion Christians on the fucking earth, for God's sake. They're still numbing. They can't stop numbing. They're still defending. They'll always defend. They only want their bread and circuses. Again, because anything else other than bread and circuses hurts. It hurts them. If you haven't seen the movie, what is that movie? Idiocracy. That is literally what you're dealing with, is idiocracy. Of course, they exaggerate it so that way it looks like entertainment and it's all fun. But when you sit down and truly examine it and look at the parallels and can see the patterns, you see that movie is a direct mirror of what we're dealing with. They want to preserve these slavery systems because they are convenient in what makes them feel comfortable and safe. So anytime you go and you start throwing your truths out there and you start sharing your shit and you start trying to convince or just trying to whatever, they don't care. Not only do they not care, you are automatically, as soon as you do that, you're poking them. You're poking at them. And it may not feel like you think you're helping them. You think you're going to enlighten them. You think you're spreading the word. You think you're putting little good vibe, the right vibes out there. You think you're planting a seed. Yes, you can plant a seed. Stand your ground, speak your truth, of course. But what have I found? 99% of the time, when I get in a conversation with somebody, I speak my truth and I can tell immediately what is taking place, and I can see and immediately something, well, that's just the way it is. And then you walk away, because to sit there and argue past that point is going to drain your energy. They are draining your battery into this system because they're working, again, they're working within these systems, completely enslaved to them, and can be used like an Agent Smith. They're Agent Smiths, period. At any given moment, the system takes them over as needed by the system to squash any kind of rebellion. And one more, I just want to say, well, let me see. Okay, also, these people see your truths, okay, as entertainment. Their movies and TV shows, their music, their TikTok, all that has conditioned and prepared their minds to see you as a lunatic as soon as you start spouting off these truths. They watch you for entertainment like EdTV or The Truman Show or anything. You know how in EdTV or The Truman Show, everybody's just sitting there watching. It doesn't matter if that person gets stabbed. It doesn't matter. The pain, they can't relate. There's no empathy. Their empathy is not there. They can't have it, guys. This all these good things that we are, the pure, beautiful things that we are, is completely been replaced with this. They can show this on a surface level, but when it gets deep, when it has anything to do with them having to face an inconvenient truth, they immediately will go to their programming, and their programming will bury you, because they will choose Barabbas over Jesus. They will choose the guy in your friend group who's always fucking things up over you and throw you out, and you'll be the black sheep. They'll all be talking about you. You're behind your back. They don't care, because they need to do those things to reinstate, to get with these other minions, to reinstate after you done stirred up all the shit and poked the hornet's nest and really fucked them up, started putting them in a cognitive dissonance type of feel, so which is very uncomfortable. They have to get back in and verify and get confirmation of their programming. So that's why they go behind your back and talk behind your back. And if you do that individually with them, or if you have a group together and you do it with them, they will mob mentality you. You will be the outcast, and that is bad. And that doesn't even go to mention, again, to the very beginning of this whole thing. By even putting these things out there, you are giving your precious energy. When after you have these conversations, you go home and you're having all these issues and you're tired, worn out, having stomach cramps, having heart palpitate, can't think straight, confused, having mixed emotions for the next few days, few weeks, whatever. You're the one that has to deal with it. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're waiting for you to come around again so they can suck your energy, because they left that conversation feeling great. Just remember, they will choose Barabbas. They will choose Barabbas over you. They don't want the truth. They want anything that will back up these systems. Anything that reaffirms that what they're doing to numb themselves and get through life and not think and not have to take any personal responsibility. They will do anything to preserve that. And look, making observations and then telling the truth is not judgment. You're not judging, okay? By making observations and then telling the truth. You are not judging. So don't let them, put you in it. You speak your truth. If they start that shit, you walk away. You have the freedom to walk away. Allow yourself that power. Allow yourself to build that power within yourself. Allow yourself to build that trust within yourself where you don't need their validation. And in fact, I use these fuckers to be able to look and be like, yep, okay, yep, they're going to 180 for me, so I know I'm definitely headed in the right direction on anything. I'm just about done, guys. Let's see here. These people are literally retarded. Okay? They are retarded. Retarded means delayed development. Again, it started in childhood. Remember that the way we got here from birth. It started in childhood. Delayed development. Okay? Someone with a retard, when you're retarded, is someone with significantly below average, and fuck below average, because if you even take an average out of fucking all the minions, you're not getting anywhere. Someone with significantly low intellectual functioning, often stemming from development issues. Why do they have development issues? They have development issues because abuse and trauma stops I can't remember if it's amygdala from growing, whatever it is, which is the thinking, processing brain. They are incapable. They are unable. They are unwilling until they come to their dark night of the soul, until they have their major head injury that wakes them up, until they have their near-death experience, until they, lose all their family or some major health issue that happens to them, right? Until they come to that point, these people are so numb and dumb, your truths mean nothing to them, because the system already prepared for us, for people like us who are coming to spout truths to these people. They put out all the entertainment, that all the stuff that we tell them, they've already seen through all their entertainment. And so when we tell them, they just see it as entertainment. They're like, kooky, right? It doesn't matter what kind of proof we have. They literally see it as entertainment. They don't think past anything we tell them. They don't think past it. They can't. They can't be, otherwise they got to jump off the boat. They can't be in those systems. Because once you're exposed to this, you have to, I told my son, I've told him many times, I've rehashed it with him today. Once you're in these systems and you get exposed to an inconvenient truth, you have two choices. You either go and double down on what you were in and completely forget or fight or just toss out, ridicule, whatever, that inconvenient truth, or you let that seed grow, that inconvenient truth grow, and you face it, and you see, you change your trajectory upon that new knowledge. And so that's what we do. That's not what they're doing. And we are such a small, you're talking about, we're probably 0.00001%, if that, of the population. That's how tiny a percentage. So that means what? 1 in every 100,000 people? I mean, it's so low. It's such a low, we're such a low minority, a true minority. There's tons of people. There's millions and millions of people into conspiracy theories. There's millions and millions of people into rabbit holes. There's millions and millions of people into all this shit. But I'm talking the true path of trying to figure this shit out and take personal responsibility and reclaim who they really are, and acknowledging that they're an eternal soul inside of the most advanced biological system on earth. So I'm doing this, guys, because I love you. I care. I do. I love you guys very much. I feel connected to you. Doing this video, I feel connected to you. And I know, and this isn't, I'm not preaching to you guys. I'm not doing that. This is just a reminder. And it was just so funny because I've been trying to do this video since yesterday, but it kept on getting put off. But it was so funny because I worked with my son today, and it was just so weird because he just happened to have a day off of school. And he hit me up yesterday and asked if he could come down and work. And we had this conversation. It ran right in with this. So again, this is, for the eyes to see and the ears to hear. This isn't to break your heart. This isn't to upset anybody. This isn't to rattle any nerves. I'm not accusing. I'm not anything to anybody. All this is a reminder to us, very sensitive, empathic people, to be very careful with our energies. We have no responsibility to any of this, only to this. So remember, guys, remember who you are. You're an eternal, all-knowing, all-powerful soul, living, occupying, managing, operating, in charge of this temple, the most advanced biological system on this earth. In that, take care of yourselves, guys, because nobody else will.